If you've been thinking about making a move to the beach anytime in the near future, today's video is one you must watch. What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with Remax Southern Shores, and today I want to talk about the real estate market across our country and also here in Myrtle Beach and what you can expect over the next several months. You know, this last year and a half, it's been kind of a crazy real estate market. People are still buying homes and moving to the area, and I've helped a bunch of people over that time make the move to the area that are loving living here. But a lot of you have probably been on the fence lately, waiting to see what's going to happen in this real estate market. Are prices going to crash? Are interest rates going to come down? Are we going to be able to find the house that we want when we're ready to make the move? All types of questions that people have been asking. And today I want to take some time and kind of answer those questions. So one of the things that I do for my business to help give my clients the absolute best experience possible is I have a real estate coach. I have someone that I meet with multiple times a month that helps me to be able to give my clients the absolute best experience, to keep my skills sharp so that I am great at negotiating, have the right resources that are needed to help my clients make the best buy, sell their homes for the highest amount of money, and make their real estate transactions as simple as possible. Well, my real estate coach that I work with, he's a nationally known person. His name is Brian Buffini. He trains hundreds of thousands of real estate agents across the country and across the world, not only in the United States, but he's also in Canada and all other places of the world. So twice a year, he takes time to do an online broadcast where he shares his predictions of what to expect over the next 6 months of the real estate market. And he did one just a week and a half ago where he talked about what his predictions are for now through the end of the year and into the spring of 2026. And while he was sharing, he gave a lot of great points that I want to kind of discuss some of them. So you might see a couple screenshots that pop up on the screen and a few other things along the way to help share the visuals of what he was talking about and also to give it a little bit more reference. So let's jump into some of the stuff. One of the things that Brian shared to start is that there are a lot of doom scrollers out there. You know, people that are sitting there just scrolling on their phone all the time, reading news and reading the titles and reading all these headlines. You know, and when you think about some of these bigger named news facets that are out there, they're going to share things that are going to have shock and awe to get people to come in and watch it, or to read it and pay attention to what they're saying. Check out some of these titles here that are on the screen. Newsweek saying number of home sellers taking their house off the market skyrockets. Fortune saying home sellers are so fed up with cutting listing prices that they're just yanking their homes off the market altogether. Yes, people that are selling homes, they're getting a little frustrated right now. But one of the things that Brian shared, and check out some of these graphics as we're talking here, is that the market right now is very, very similar to one that we had a few years ago. If we look at this first graphic here on the screen, this one is going to show you inventory. And if you look, and it goes all the way back to 2019, back in 2019, we had 1.24 million homes that were active listings on the MLS. Right now, here we are in July of 2025, and how many do we have? 1.1 million. So it's very close, very similar to what's then. If you look there during the COVID time, and one of the things that Brian also kept stating over and over during his presentation is that we are now in a post-COVID era. We can't say we're in a COVID era anymore. We're in a post-COVID era. That means that all of the stuff that happened during those 5 years, basically, that stuff is long gone. You know, if you look back in 2020 and 2021, the inventory of homes was way, way down. Look at this graphic again. 547,000 homes on the market. He's very, very small. If we look at the supply, you know, I talk about months supply a lot of times, and one of the people Brian has had on his podcasts and also on his shows is Lawrence Yun, who is the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. And what Lawrence shares a lot of times for us as agents, as realtors, is that if there is a 6 months housing inventory, that is a balanced market. Anything less than that, it's a seller's market. Anything greater than that is basically a buyer's market. So as you look at the graphic here, you can see when we started back in 2019, we were at 4.4 months of inventory. And then we hit COVID and it dropped all the way down to 2.6 months of inventory. That was the time where when people were moving to the beach here, a home hit the market. We were battling out there with 20 other people to get our offer accepted and buying a home for probably a little bit more than we wanted to pay, but we didn't have a choice. If we wanted to make the move, we had to take what was available and probably pay top dollar to get it. As you can see here, this is the national number, which is at 4.7 months of inventory. In a second here, I'm going to show you the local market of what we have right now. And as you can see, we're right now here in Myrtle Beach, even a little bit higher. We're in the 5-month plus of range. But as you can already see here as well, is that number has already started to go down, the number of inventory. That means homes are selling. There's less stuff out there for people to pick from. This next graphic that I want to show you, this is kind of a heat map of what you can see for across the country. The main areas where people are moving to Myrtle Beach, where are they? Well, it's California, it's all across the Northeast, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts. All of those areas here, as you can see on the map, are in that seller's market right now, where homes are still selling, and they're selling pretty quickly. As you can see here, we in the middle, we're part of that neutral market, and then the places where people are having trouble selling right now, well, let's look at those. It's in Texas, where taxes are high right now. Property taxes are higher than they've ever been. And it's in Florida. Well, why are people moving out of Florida and having a hard time? Well, insurance is making it very expensive and very hard to get insurance, so people are having to sell and move out of there. But if you look, here's a little bit closer graphic of Myrtle Beach in the south, where we sit in that green section there. We're kind of in a neutral market right now. We're still selling, we're still buying. People are doing both of them in our area. Why is that? Well, the same reason you're thinking about moving to Myrtle Beach right now. We have a great climate area. We have a very low cost of living, and we have the beach. Those three things are going to always be true here. And as long as they continue to be there, people are still going to think about moving to the area. So what does all this mean? How does this equate to you buying a house, and why do you care about this information? Well, number one, if you're living up in the Northeast and you're thinking about selling your home, right now is the time to get it on the market because it's a strong seller's market where you can get it sold. Number two, if you're thinking about moving here, you have options to buy that. One of the things that I want to show you here, and let me pull up the graphic here for you, is that right now, and I've talked about this before, new construction is building. New construction is building a lot. They are putting into their own personal stock. They're up 15%. If you look at this graphic, which shows new construction month supply, they are at a highest number they've ever been at in the last 6 years, basically, at 9.8 months of inventory. Why are they doing that? They know that we have hit what we call the wall in a marathon. What is that wall? It's when you're running along and you get to that point where you just can't go anymore and you want to quit and you want to give up. Usually it's about 2/3 of the way through the race. But then all of a sudden you continue to push through, and you break through that wall. And once you do, it's smooth sailing the rest of the way. And you're like, wow, this is real easy to do. Builders, they know that we're in the wall and that it's about to break any day. And when we break through that, what we're going to see is going to be crazy. Now, what do you mean? How do you know this, Jeremy? Well, let's look at a couple things. First, let's talk about existing home sales. Here's the graphic showing existing home sales here across the country. In 2019, remember we talked about 2019 a minute ago and how it's real similar? Well, 2019, we had 5.34 million homes sell. This year, they're forecasting to be right about 4.16, a slight uptick from last year. Well, why are these numbers less? Why are they, going down, and why aren't they going up? Well, that's pretty simple. A couple reasons why. Number one, the median home price. If you look at a home that's sold in 2019 compared to a home that is sold now, and this is across the country, where average is up about $125,000 over that time frame. So those of you that bought your home back in 2019, you're probably sitting on anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 of equity just because of pricing increases here in Myrtle Beach and across the country. That's pretty true of most areas. So what does that mean? It means that people are saying this right now. Man, I wish I bought a home 5 years ago. And you know what? People are going to say that same thing in 5 years from today. Man, I wish I'd bought a home 5 years ago. Well, why is that? Let's take a minute. Let's talk about this. So, Brian then talked about mortgage rates. And this is one of the big factors as to why there's not as many home sales right now. If you look at this graphic, back in 2019, before COVID came in, interest rates then were averaging right around 3.75. Then we had COVID come through and they said, well, we got to do something to stimulate the economy, make people want to buy houses, sell houses, and have everything keep moving. So they lowered interest rates down to 2.8% across the country. You know, some of you right now probably have an interest rate on your mortgage in the 2 to 3 range. If you do me a favor, pause the video a second, go down to the comments and just leave a comment and say, hey, our interest rate is this. You know, I have a house right now where our investment home used to be our primary. It's at 2.875. I love it. I don't want to get rid of that rate anytime soon. So I've turned it into an investment property just to keep it. But as you can see, looking at this graph, let's go back here a second. You can see it slowly started to raise as it went into 2022 to 5.3%. Then into 2023, it averaged at 6.8. And then 2024, it's hovered right around there at 6.78. In 2025, today, we're right around that same spot. So what Brian is predicting is that as we go into this next several months and into 2026, interest rates are going to drop. And when they do, the floodgates are going to open. These things that I'm about to show you are probably some of the most important things that I can talk about in here. And so I want you guys to really pay attention to this. The first thing is that when mortgage rates drop from 7% to 6%, 5.5 million additional households will be eligible to buy, including 1.6 million renters. When interest rates went up, it affected people's affordability to purchase a home. As we shared a few minutes ago, the median sales price went up, and it jumped a pretty good amount during that time. Well, when interest rates went up then as well at the same time, it made people's affordability to purchase a home go out the window. So a lot of you probably have been stuck either staying in a home because you couldn't afford it or renting because you couldn't afford to get a loan in those situations. So what does that mean for you moving forward? Well, Brian thinks that interest rates are going to go from that 7% rate down to 6%. And when that takes place, what we're going to see is a huge opportunity for people to go out and purchase a home. He feels that when they drop from 7% to 6%, it's going to give us an additional 550,000 sales. That is a huge amount. Now, some of you might be saying, well, Jeremy, that's great in fine and all, but how does that really work out, and how does that what does that really equate to? So let's talk about this a second and check out this graphic that I made. So if interest rates drop 1% and you have a $100,000 mortgage, you're looking at basically savings of $66 per month. If you have a $300,000 mortgage, you're right around that $200 mark. And if you have a $500,000 mortgage, you're going to save over $300 a month in your monthly payment. So people who are going to be getting those loans to buy homes, this is going to give you a lot more buying power. You're going to be able to afford much more of a house. You're going to be able to get into those homes. And as I mentioned earlier, the builders are doing everything they can to stock up. Well, what does that also mean? They're also doing everything they can to move some inventory because they can't hold all of it at once. So what does that do? Well, that means they're giving you incentives. I have a client right now that just went under contract. They got $8,000 towards closing costs. In addition to the $8,000 towards closing costs, we got about $10,000 off of the house that they're buying. We also got the screened porch done. It was just a covered porch. We had them screen it for free. We had them put the gutters on the house, and we had them put window blinds in all of the windows in the home. So all of those things together probably came out to about $25,000 to $30,000 of incentives. Another buyer that just went under contract this week, they're buying a new home that's a new construction with another builder in town. They're getting close to $40,000 to $50,000 off the asking price of this home. Why? The home is almost completed. The builder wants to move it. My buyers are a cash buyer. They went in, they said, we'll offer this. They said, okay, we'll accept it. And so they're getting a great home 3-car garage, 4-bedroom house, 2 baths, 2,000 square feet for $40,000 to $50,000 off of the asking price. Try to get that with somebody who's doing a resale. It's not going to happen. Why? Because that reseller, that homeowner, if I'm selling my home right now, I have to get a certain amount because I paid a certain amount for it. Where the builder, they have a lot of room to play because they built the home and they have all of the profit in the house. So they're willing to give some of it up to get it off of the books instead of holding inventory. Long-time strategy. So what does this all mean? What it means is this. For you as a buyer right now, you're going to have choices coming forward. You're going to have the opportunity to get out there, find homes, look at stuff, and find properties. There's going to be selections there to pick from versus this is the only thing that's on the market and you better take it right now. Now, I will tell you, if you're looking for the deals and the steals, we're still going to have to move quickly on those because they're not going to wait. Buyers are coming. They're taking them out left and right. And so you're going to have to move when you find it right away. What does this mean for sellers? It means there's competition. That means when you're putting your home on the market, we got to get it priced right. We need to make sure that we're not going at 2021 pricing and adding $50,000 because we think it'll sell. It's not going to. I just had a closing that happened today for some buyers, and they were looking at selling their home. And they wanted to list it at around the $450,000 mark. And I ran the comps and found in their neighborhood, there were the same floor plan home as theirs on the market for right around $450,000. But when I started to look at it in comparables and run a comparative market analysis, I found that they really needed to be closer to the $400,000 mark. And so I had to have a hard discussion with that seller and ask them, do you want to just get your home on the market or do you want to get your home sold? They said, no, ultimately we want to get it sold. They listened to my advice. We listed it at $400,000. We blitzed it with a lot of awesome marketing, had the house available, which is another huge thing. You got to have the house available when somebody wants to see it. We also did a lot of open houses, a lot of great marketing to get the home. And basically within 2.5 weeks, while there's still 15 to 30 other houses in the neighborhood for sale, they went under contract and they went and closed. So get your home priced right, get it marketed properly, and have it available for people to see if you're trying to sell your home right now. All right, so here were Brian's predictions as we start to head into the end of this year and beginning of next year. He feels that we're going to see existing home sales increase by 3% by the end of 2025. He feels that new home sales will increase by 5% by the end of 2025, and that medium home prices will increase 1% by the end of 2025, and that mortgage rates are going to hover between 6.25 and 6.5% by the end of the year. So what does that mean for you who are thinking about making the move? My suggestion to you is I wouldn't wait a long time to do it, because as interest rates go down, we're going to see the inventory disappear also. Interest rates go down, inventory is going to go down. As inventory goes down, what's that going to do? Prices are going to raise. And so you're going to start to see higher pricing, meaning it's going to cost you more to get the exact same home. Right now is a peak time to move in this market and try to find something. So if you're thinking about doing that and you want help doing it, my information's down below. You can email me. You can go over to my website, jeremyblanton.com, and you can book a call there. It's real simple and easy to do. It syncs in with my calendar, and we can have a discussion about moving to the area and options and areas that would work best for you in moving to Myrtle Beach. Hopefully, guys, you found this information valuable today. I am not doing this to try to do a sales pitch. I'm trying to help educate you guys and get you the best option out there. If you enjoyed today's video, though, do me a favor. Give it a thumbs up, get the bell on, and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya.